Hello, it's KRBrickBot. There's more Korean robo stuff coming out than I can get and record. But I'm just gonna start off small with the latest wave of the hellokabbot minis. The Pentastorm X team, like the new wave is just all 5 of these old classic Carbots in their new forms. So Ace has a blue side, Dandy is green, Fron is red, Squat is orange, and Storm is purple. And they are form-fitting boxes with the front portraits. Though, ironically, Ace's box is the largest of this wave. I guess just because to fit the hose. But that's ironic considering the truck should be the biggest. Then Fron's the smallest, being a slim police car. May of 2022 checks out. They have the circular type of tape instead of just the typical tape just taped on there. As to be expected, it's the paper bag. Rip. First off, mini Ace Recue X, the generic fire car with a water hose on it. It's a big red, bright plastic red color with black paint and white paint and orange lights and the silver Carbot symbol and the yellow bits on the bottom. But only the 2 plastic colors. Yeah, but still a generous amount of paint. And comparing that with a pullback car version. And being only a car, it can have more paint, so you can see some of the paint apps this is missing, like the silver grill sides. Also, it's pretty plain and really simplified water equipment detail here. Yeah, but the 119 fire and rescue is there, and the front bumper is a little lacking. Really lacking in silver. And that orange really is kind of hard to make out amongst the red, but it's painted there. Overall, the sculpting is nice, even though this one looking a little flatter than this. And comparing that with the old Ace Recue, it looks like it has a little more substantial paint on it, you know, the, like white throughout and black on more windows. This one doesn't have to have back windows, and even a silver painted front. I mean, I guess this one is more painted, but I guess this one is more detailed and just looks more like a fire truck, a standalone fire truck thing. Transforming just is the same as the bigger one, like the feet down, side guns down, arms down, and the panels, the side panels down, and split legs. Robot mode with weapon. And for the mini guy, it does have a good number of highlight paint apps, like the yellow kneecaps and the shoulders and the silver upper midriff. And a really well painted face that looks like all the good accurate accents of the original head. Old and new, their head height is about the same because they both have the short legs that don't really flip over, giving it an extra leg. But visually, this is a major improvement over this rather simplistic re-shelling. No head, no waist, no elbow, full ball socket shoulder, and a secondary pin joint for the transformation shoulder so you can do a shrug. Full forward, very little back because of the windshield that doesn't fold down, and very little knee also because of that windshield, and 2 hinges for the transformational toe. At least with the double shoulders, you can get his really simplified hands together for a 2-handed hold. Dandy Ambulance, the generic emergency vehicle clone ambulance variant, with a really square cab and no sirens to easily indicate it's an ambulance. I mean, not even sculpted bulges to suggest that. It's just really smooth. So you could just only tell it's an ambulance by its decals, the 119 decals and the pulse and the green cross. Pretty bright green cross. Which, by the way, for some reason, the first releases of the original Big Toy had a red cross, but in the Pentastorm multi-pack, and I assume the later versions of this single one changed it to a green cross. Interesting running change. Comparing the old So Square It's Not a Star X Dandy Ambulance with the new Dandy Ambulance X, I mean, it looks like there's just a give or take in the paint apps. I mean, this entire lower area is painted yellow, so that's a lot more paint. But this one has a little more paint in the central areas and such. Transformation, the lower area is the exact same as the mini Ace Recue X. The double shoulders, they go forward like this. And the weapon, yeah, just take it off to flip out the wings, then put it back on in the exact same spot. It's the skinny, scrawny, strong guy Dandy X. And the 3 base plastic colors of white, red, and black. So they're not lacking the colors for the inner limbs, but the colors are wrong. The pelvis and upper thighs are switched, and these are red shoulders instead of black. I guess that's because of the sprues and how this torso is on one piece. But it looks fine, and it's not going to be noticeable to anyone who doesn't care about that big toy or show accuracy. It seems it has no paint apps anywhere on the lower legs, but enough on the yellow shoulders, the green chest, the black midriff, and the white head with a red crest and blue visor, and no silver faceplate or any other yellow accents. Dandy Ambulance X stands a little bit taller than his old version. And the old one may have a bit more presence and bulk and maybe proportional ideals. But this one looks just a little bit more visually interesting because of the more dynamic color breakup. I'm not sure about the later reissues of this version, but as one of the ones from the first run, this one is a flippy floppy flooper. They may share the same engineering, and both of them have flip out wheels and not closing. They do have a few sculpting differences, like Dandy really got short cannons. No head, no waist. Ball socketed shoulders that go 180 from backwards. Ball socketed shoulders that go 180 backwards because of this very big squarey shoulder. And a second ball joint on this L-shaped joint so you can go outward a little bit while having his square panels clash on his cheeks. Permanent diagonal elbow bend. Leg forward. Leg back. Maybe a little bit more than the Ace or the Butt, just about the same. But still has the non-folding windshield. Double toe foot. And spreads. Mini Fron Police X, the 2-door sporty style fictional police car. In the Korean colors of yellow. So comparing that with a pullback from Police X and a bigger push key car Police X. It has the main colors of the white and the painted blue and yellow and the sirens and the black windscreen and the front grills. Yeah, so the front is looking pretty substantial. Although the Carbot symbol molded in there isn't picked out in silver, that's a shame, and the lower grille there. And the front headlights are not separated, they're just painted over. But other than that, the front is a pretty good likeness. Yeah, but the back is pretty plain. The molding is there, but it's plain. No back window or the painted spoilers or not even the red tail lights. It looks half good. Comparing the old with the new. This one's looking a little wider, especially with that redesigned, oddly panel-liney front. And it's the paint that goes all the way around and mostly black. Yeah, but the paint apps, the decals are going for different things, so this is fine. The paint apps are fine, except for the front. It's looking a little too smooth. And actually, just the symbol on this one just really looks out of place compared to this one, which is actually in a grill, while this one does not have a grill big enough for this thing. And also, this Fron X is looking a little bit yellower white than this pure white that I kept it in so long. It's no sun damage here, and this is right out of the box. I think this is just a different plastic color. It's not yellowed plastic. Transformation should be pretty much the same. Arms down, hood down, double toe feet hinge, and weapon storage between the feet. And it has the folding out panels that clip to the back of the feet that they could have easily not done and just have this a single panel and just limit the leg articulation, but they actually have this double panel like the big toy. Kudos to them for this Fron X only. It's working with blue, white, and black plastic colors, and the few paint apps it has, it's pretty okay, like the blue paint and yellow kneecaps. That's pretty nice, and it's missing a few bit of red on the shoulder and toes and the lower arms, the torso area. But it's pretty fine. I mean, those are negligible. What's not, though, is the really blue face. I mean, that is very blue. That's not supposed to be blue. He should at least have a silver faceplate. Yeah, but without that little bit of paint, because there is no other silver that is used here. And I guess that would have been a little too pricey for the grills. So yeah, that just looks pretty plain and cheap without any silver faceplate to break up that face. The new Fron Police X is definitely a lot taller than his old version. And since the front of the car and the bottom of the car forms more of the robot mode, I mean, it has more pleasant colors than just the stark white of the shell formery old design. Just nice white covering some yellowish white that is not quite the same as this yellowish white, but they're both yellowish white. No head, no waist. Double ball socket shoulders. Pin here, the shoulder here with easily removable ball sockets. Nothing at the elbows, these really hollow forearms and absolutely fingerless hands. But they have screwed on separate windows? I mean, why are these separate pieces? Those would really have been better used for elbows. Full forward and pretty obtuse back and the full spreads and the pretty over 90 knees and the double transformational toe hinge. Size comparison. Battlemaster, Micromaster, Micromeister, Core Prime, Megatron, Skywarp, Soundwave, Hot Rod, Shockwave, Bumblebee, Mini Cooper, Mini Tobot, and Mini Coon. Mini Sky SWAT X, the armored police car, and a significant departure from her original not Veloster 4-door police car, which might be a yay or a nay for some. Yeah, sure, that very overhanging bulge at the front is still a little unsightly and just directly replicated, but it still has those enough intricate greeblings and those bolts and panels and such to really indicate its robust nature of this new one. And it has the painted silver bull bar and the Carbot symbol and the silver here and the siren lights here. And it has the little side gun weapon storage and the silver painted hubcaps and the headlights. Yeah, compared to this all smooth car, this smooth sleek car and this heavy duty off-roader. Transformation, double foot down, hinge here, and rotate these guns down. They are pinned in there, so they can't be detached or moved upwards, so they're just rotating. Double hinge down, chest down, and weapon storage. Weapon holding. It's also a nice downscaled likeness of the original Sky SWAT X. The most simplification things sticking out are the wheels, literally. Like, yeah, these wheels don't fold in, and these wheels, which should have been on her hands, are just right where her elbows would be. But the chest is pretty chonky enough, and there's enough paint apps on the visor and the monocle and the silver side. And the dark gray plastic in her inner limbs and the gun. And the prominent red on her shoulders are still there, so yet this thing didn't have much color. It still had some colors, but it's still predominantly black and gray, so this looks good enough. this looks very similar, like the most similar of all the downscaling to upscalings. This looks the most similar out of all the upscaling to downscalings. Also one of those ones that is taller than the old version. And she's working with yellowish dark gray than the really bluish dark gray. And of course, she's much more sturdier in build, ball socket build than these floppy legs. No head, no waist, the full ball socket shoulder, the pin and ball socket shoulder for transformational shrug shoulders. No elbows, but a suggested elbow point that connects completely fingerless hands. What is it with fingerless hands and just giving us stumps? Stumps right out in the open. They're not even like in panels. Stumps. Leg forward, leg back that much. Kibble. Almost 90 knees and a good spread and a double toe transformation. And finally, Storm Axe. This white decorated big trailer truck, this big tanker truck, this big dump truck that might be hydrogen powered. Really doesn't have anything in the headlights or such, but I guess it's fine for a big truck like this. And comparing with the old Storm, I guess the silver grille really does make it stand out better than the black grille of this version, and might be better defined than the older version that actually had a silver grille. And it is much more rounded out than these hollow bits here. But if you can see here, biggest difference, this has 8 wheels, this only has 6 wheels. 8 bigger wheels, mind you. Why doesn't this thing have 8 wheels? Transforming should be the same. Legs out, feet down, remove the weapon. Fold out, arms down. Fold back the truck. And that should tap into place. And the sword. Storm Axe is that burly truck robot with a sword. And it only has black and dark blue as the plastic colors, but it does have a generous amount of paint apps. It looks like these upper legs look really simple. I mean, they look really simple. They just look like they're just round circles with a little bit of a divot in them to loosely replicate those shin details. And these parts shouldn't be yellow. They should be up here. I mean, yeah, just kind of slightly off, just slightly inaccurate in the upper legs. And the lower legs are fine, I guess. And simplified blue arms that just fold down in one piece. The fold of the roof, I guess that's fine for simplification. And there's enough red on the black torso, though a little bit of silver would help break that up, especially on the crotch area. Also, I'm noticing that these are actually kind of new details that loosely replicate the white interlocking polygons on the shoulders on the original one, instead of just printing them. They're just like molded similar details, but not quite the same. That is unusual. Hey, but the head is also nice. Yeah, it has enough colors like the silver and the red and the orange. No bits of yellow on the side ears, but that's not that noticeable. And there is no hint of wings that can form a shield, but they have the back turbines. And comparing with the old Storm, it looks like this is a lighter shade of dark blue. And I guess the reason you can see why this thing doesn't have 8 wheels is because they just really wanted to keep the silhouette of his iconic shoulders and not just have them impeded by these extra shoulder wheels that would have to go here or right beside his head, which would not look attractive, I guess. And of course, he has a little bit more paint than this torso, unless it's an official upscale. And I guess because these legs don't fold in as these legs, which just fold over them. I mean, these legs gonna have a lot more thickness to them than these little scrawny things. But Mini Storm Axe doesn't have locking tabs in the chest shoulders, unlike this one, which very much does. Also, that is a significant hinge for the front flap of the Storm, but for the Storm Axe, it has the same hinge in the same spot, but that's all it goes. That's how far it goes. It barely needs to move out of the way for the little torso. No head, no waist, pin shoulders, a permanent elbow bend that goes all the way up. Ball socket forward and backward, full backward. The full double knee, it's a double knee for transformation. And toe down. And the full spread. Almost. The wheels get in the way. It's not as articulated as the big Storm Axe, the most articulated Carbot toy ever. But it's decent for the little guy. Size comparison. Battlemaster, Micromaster, Micromeister, Core Prime, Megatron, Skywarp, Soundwave, Hot Rod, Shockwave, Bumblebee, Diarobo Nissan, Mini Tobot, and Mini Coon. You know, as much as I'm mixed on the original Carbot team just getting upgraded for no narrative reason, just for old character, new toy reasons, I think these mini versions, I think they're generally better than their old versions. I think it comes down to the color layout and their faithfulness to their original bigger toys, because that's just inherently due to the simplistic nature and simple transformation of these new X Carbots compared to the rather intricate for kids toys original Carbots that, when simplified into a smaller scale, really got simplified and stylistically changed very significantly from their bigger toys. Also, considering these were the very first helloCarbot minis, they kind of went through some growing pains, you know, I guess starting with the model kit style of simplistic colors. And when they had to transform from mini licensed Hyundai cars to mini generic cars, they really took a unique stylization. I mean, the original big facelifts were just minor modifications instead of complete overhauls. So if you already have those old minis, I think these new minis will do just as fine. As I said, they have overall better quality. But also, if you haven't gotten any of those mini Carbots yet, if you haven't got any of the first waves, I think you can go for these instead. They're a little more articulate and a little more uniform. But even though they're very similar to their bigger toys, of course, they were never intended to combine. So you're just collecting them as a team of cars, but not for the combination. I guess these X Carbots might be slightly easier to 3D print mod add-on upgrade kit into a mini Pentastorm X. And no, this arrow-shaped tab does not fit this arrow-shaped hole. It's too big. Why would you think two completely different toy accessories would be compatible with each other? So these are pretty good minis to go off on the overall series for now. I guess all that's left to do is the helloCarbot Mini Hawk Axe and Laranja and Power Boomba Screw Boomba, but other than the typical cars, I don't think there's anyone else to do. Again, it would be nice if the mini toy line branched out to other things other than just singles.